Let's go, everybody.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Hope your week, if yesterday was the start of your week, got off to a good start. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Always top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yesterday did sneak up on me. I mean, I did work in the morning. I knew that it was Tuesday when I did the show. I forgot it was Tuesday once the show ended because I had an appointment yesterday that I completely blew off because it was Monday. Remember, the first day of the week.
Right.
And they called and they said, "Where are you?" And I said, "That's great. It's Tuesday, isn't it?" I slept right through it. I took a nap. Fortunately, it wasn't a big deal and got it taken care of. But yeah, I would, for whatever reason, did the show. I mean, I do this today was the day when thing at the end. I know it was Tuesday.
Well, you knew it was May 26th. Okay. I could see where I don't think you're the only one, by the way, listening.
According to the place where I missed the appointment, I was not the only one.
There you go. There you go. So, they gave you a mulligan, right?
Oh, yeah. They were fine. They were fine. Come on. They get money for it, David. Do you really think
Exactly.
whether they get money at 1:30 or 3 o'clock? It doesn't make a damn bit of difference to them. Just give me the money.
Just as long as you're out of here by when we want to be out of here, we'll make good.
Yep.
Sure.
No doubt about
problem.
that.
You know who's not getting a make good?
The Colorado Avalanche.
Right. The best team in the NHL all year. That was not up for debate, by the way. What did they start out? Something like, I don't know, 34, 2-5? Something absurd?
And they gone.
See ya. Yep. A team that would not have made the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. That's right. All 8 teams in the Eastern Conference had more points than did the Golden Knights of Las Vegas. Yep. Mm-hmm. See you. Gotta go.
And I think there's a bigger story. Yes, Colorado losing's big. But come on now. This is yet another time here recently that we said bye-bye to a coach late in the season, and this time it works. I mean, that to me is the underlying story of this. Because John Tortorella got the job with what, 4 games left, 6 games left?
I believe 8.
Okay.
I believe 8.
Okay. 10% of the season left.
Right.
90% of the season gone. And we're going to make a change now. There's 2 parts of this. One, that it's worked for Tortorella, that here's a guy, and we talked about it yesterday on the show, here's a guy who's a hard ass. I mean, that's his reputation, my way or the highway type of guy. But he replaced another guy who was very similar. So it allows Torts to be a little different, to be a little more freewheeling, to be a little more fun. I don't know if fun's the right word, but
right.
Give me a little writer's embellishment here. But he gets to be as much fun as Torts can be. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
This is the best version of Torts, David.
You know, Mark, when you're in a meeting and you turn around and you go, did he just try to make a chuckle? Okay. Was that a joke? Was that? and the room like really reacts like it's really funny because it's kind of funny, but from him it's hysterical.
Yeah, or Miller just went off in the meeting and Moulton says, well, I can say whatever I want now because there's already been him. But either way, I'm picking up what you're putting down there, David.
How much time till commercial break? Let me know, and that's all I need. Right.
Right. So that's the one side of it. And the success they're having, of course, tells every owner what, David?
Oh, you can do this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part one. Part B, you've got to pay a little more attention to. Part B is they fired Bruce Cassidy, longtime NHL coach, successful NHL coach. And other teams want to hire Cassidy. In fact, other teams have asked to interview the former Las Vegas Golden Knight coach,
Right.
who is still under contract with the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
1 more year, $4.5 million. Right. And the Golden Knights management has essentially said, we'd rather he just sit home and we pay him as opposed to him coaching. And they've told the league that, and the league has said, well, it's a contract, right? You're going to honor the contract? We don't have any problem with that. Well, the coaches are losing their mind. Coaches are like, this is BS. We got fired. Think about how we'd all react. Although I got to admit,
No, I wouldn't. No. If you were going to pay me to do nothing, I'd
Right.
be a great little soldier, David. You mean I don't have to show up to the office and you're still going to give me a check every other Friday? Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'd ask like one time. I'd go and say, listen, as you know, they want to interview me and offer me the job and what have you. Are you going to let that happen? No. Okay. So you're going to pay me. I just want to make sure I got this right. You're going to pay me for the next like 56 weeks. Yes, we are. The full amount. All right. Be good. Hey, good luck in the playoffs. I'll be rooting for you.
Now, everything I've seen indicates that when the playoffs are over, they very well may let Cassidy interview for other jobs. But while their playoff run is going on, they are not to be disturbed. They've put the sign on the door. In fact, for those of you that know, if you know, you know, they put the towel under the door so nothing escapes from an odor standpoint. And the Golden Knights management smoking a spleef inside their hotel room and no one's noticing because they're not letting Cassidy talk to anyone, nor are they seemingly answering the phone anymore. I mean, those are the two parts of this, that it's another now 2 weeks before if and when they allow Cassidy to interview. That part cracks me up, David.
Well, there's so many layers to this. Also, Bruce Cassidy won a cup for Las Vegas 3 years ago, and they fired him with 8 games left in the season when they were in second place in their division. Huh. But also, the guy in Colorado, he won them a cup 4 years ago. And now here we are 4 years later, and this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. It doesn't matter the best record in the regular season. It doesn't matter you're 8-1 in the playoffs. Okay? This is supposed to be the better team. I mean, if you're Joe Sakic, you blaming the players, or are you going, what the hell?
We don't blame players anymore, David. Players don't have the accountability they once did. And fans don't call out players. Owners don't call out players because they're paying players an exorbitant sum of money. You can't just ship off a McKinnon or a McCarr, but you can get rid of a Bednar.
Yeah, you can.
I'll be very interested to see what happens in Colorado. But the last part of it, too, what happened in the last series, Tortorella in Vegas lost a second-round draft pick because they didn't make themselves available to the media. Every part of this is hilarious to me. They keep winning.
Yep.
And now this is 3 Stanley Cup appearances in 9 seasons. It's the greatest expansion franchise ever. Ever. I don't, it's inarguable, David.
Yeah, the only technicality is when the NHL finally expanded beyond 6 teams, they put the original 6 on one side and the newbies on the other. So one of the newbies got to the finals. What was it? The first 3 or 4 years they had this system in place. So the St. Louis Blues went to the finals their first 3 years of existence, proceeded to get swept every time because they were not good. But I'm with you, Mark. All right. In the modern day NHL, and they've gotten to 5 conference finals in 9 years.
In modern day sports, you find me an MLB team, an NFL team, an NBA team that's accomplished what Vegas has accomplished in this short period of time.
I agree with you. Arizona was amazing. Arizona started up in 97, won the division in 99, went and won the World Series in 01. Okay, but then they have to go to the finals, go to the World Series again, in the next 2-3 years after that, which they didn't do because they haven't been back.
That should be better now. At least according to me, it says the microphone is working. Andy Baskin will join us on the show today. Seth Everett will join us in his usual spot. And Jarrett Ramirez, who we had on last week, covers Texas Tech. And they were told that their quarterback can't play yesterday.
Right.
Guess what?
They're appealing.
So those are some of the things going on in and around the sports world. Miller and Moulton on a hump day edition. Vegas is gone. We had a game 5 in the NBA Western Conference Finals. And Oklahoma City armbarred the San Antonio Spurs to take that big 3-2 lead in the series, with it going back to San Antonio. The text line is open as always at 21,000. The keyword is Miller. So text Miller to 21,000 and let it rip. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing to...
For some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I saw that and fixed it. David, on the bottom of your screen, where you've got the StreamYard, you got the microphone, the camera, and all that stuff. Look at your microphone and make sure there's not a red line through it. Because that's what happened to mine. And once you press that, it should go away. If you have that.
Okay. Well, right now I'm unmuted, so. Hello, 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 hello.
All right. Do you have a line through your microphone on the bottom left of the screen? No. Okay. They apparently hear you. I don't. So I don't know what's going on. All right. This is going to be very difficult. No, I got it. I got it. We're good, I think. Talk in your microphone. I need you on your mic, please.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. I got
Hello? There we go.
hello,
I got it.
but I was talking for about 20 seconds before that.
I know, and I wasn't getting it. I had buttons to push. I had to keep searching until I could find it. So I've got
Okay.
it.
Okay. Hell, you got an hour and 15 minutes in the bank. Good morning, Michael. Yeah, I know, Paula. How about that? What are they in the semis now? Putting a lot of pressure on us, Michael.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. Well, Mark, we said the Braves would never lose again, and they weren't. They didn't until they decided to lose 3 in a row. And what's crazy is they've decided to suddenly stop catching the ball. They had 4 errors the other night, 3 errors last night, which accounted for all 6 of Baltimore runs being unearned. That's tough to do. Well, congratulations to the first place Rays. They've had a bad 72 hours. They need a W in the worst way. Maybe they'll get it today before they come home after a day off Thursday to start playing the Angels at home on Friday.
So a buddy of mine was watching your Mets and the Reds last night. He's a Reds fan. He wasn't watching them for your Mets.
Right.
And he texted me early in the game. And he says, bottom of the second in the Reds-Mets game, and already 3 ABS challenges. Blue is 0 for 3. One strike call was almost 4 inches high. And I just said back, I love ABS. He texts again. We're up to 6 now, bottom of the 5th, and the players have been right every time. That's 6 calls in 5 innings, and the umpires were 0 for.
Yep.
Now, I've got to admit, I love the ABS system. Anybody who's listening to the show knows that I've been for this for a long time. I wanted the computers to just call it. This is working out far better for me personally. I like the players challenging it. I think it adds an element to the fan experience that wasn't there before. But I don't know what the percentages are on the year, but the umps aren't doing very well, David.
Well, no, because if you get a challenge, I mean, you get what? 2 a game? And so if you're wrong, you're down to 1. And, you know, if the challenge is early in the game, that's it.
Well, right. If you're wrong.
Right.
But I just said the umps aren't doing so good. See, the way you presented it is you only get 1, is that the teams aren't doing good. Here's the thing. If the teams weren't doing good, we wouldn't have 6 challenges through 5 innings.
Correct. But not only that, they're not afraid to challenge early. That's telling me that, we're pretty confident in what the strike zone is. And, yeah, we have no problem challenging you in the second inning.
And the catchers have the green light. The catchers flat out have the green light to challenge whenever they want. At least it appears that way. Because they're leading the way in challenges, and they're right 2/3 of the time.
I think the biggest thing the catchers have going against them is, for whatever reason, the home plate umpire is missing their challenge. They hit the helmet so fast, the home plate umpire misses it. Then the catcher has to argue with the umpire and go, I challenged that. No, you didn't. I challenged it.
But I think by and large, this system's working for the teams. It's working for the fans. And it shows that the umpires union, which is used to have an unbelievable amount of power in Major League Baseball, I think has definitely lost some of their power.
Yeah, but they got paid for it. They got paid off a little bit. So, you know, it's the same thing that works with, players and money. If, we want you to play more games. Well, you're going to have to give us more money. Okay, we'll do that. Not as much as you want, but we'll do that. Sure.
So I'm a big fan. I love getting texts like that. I love finding out how often the umpires are wrong.
Have you heard some of the dialogue? One home plate umpire, the catcher challenged it, and as he's making away his around the plate to look up at the booth, okay, he literally mumbles under his breath, hoping no one would hear it. Oh God, I hope I got this one right.
Well, muttering under the breath seems to be something going on in the sports world right now that, they've got to be careful about, because I think it was, I don't know what exact ESPN, I think it was a softball broadcast in which somebody or something that was mic'd up caught some very colorful language over the weekend.
Well, that is when you want more audio, when you want to bring the person at home closer to the game. Okay. Little Johnny over there is not going home having milk and cookies. Oh, he's not. It's a different day. Not today.
But you mentioned the Rays losing 3 in a row. The Cubs have lost 10 in a row.
10.
They went from first place to last place in the division. I mean, that you got to do something there.
Yeah, is that a 20-foot birdie putt clap? I mean, come on. That's worthy of some applause. That's tough to do.
The American League, after last night, has just 3 teams with a record better than 500. The White Sox are at 27-27. That's the 4th best record in the American League.
It's unbelievable.
Because last night the Athletics lost. They're a game below 500, just a half game in front of the Mariners. I mean, it is disastrous in the AL right now. It really stinks to be a fan of a team in the AL, and they're the worst team in the AL.
Right. But by the same token, what are they, 5 out of the playoffs?
One more than that, but I mean, does it really matter? When you haven't won 40% of your games in baseball, does it really matter?
But now, aren't we getting really dangerously close to asking yourself, hey, is this going to go on all year? Are we really only going to have like 3, at most 4 good teams? Because that means that's 2 playoff spots that are going to be given to 2 teams right around 500. Hell, maybe 80 and 82. We don't know.
Well, I feel confident in saying the team that wins the AL West will have won more games than it's lost.
Okay.
But that means 2 wild card teams will have to do the same.
Correct. Which also means if you're an Orioles fan, yeah, you're frustrated as hell. You've won 2 or 3 in a row. What are you, 2 out of the playoffs? You're Texas, you're Seattle.
Well,
even Houston,
I like where you are with, Houston's won a bunch of games recently, too. They lost yesterday, but they'd won 7 of 10 prior to that and 4 or 5 in a row. I think Texas you got to pay attention to. I think the Mariners you have to pay attention to. I think the Blue Jays. I think that's, if you're talking about teams, obviously last year, they were pretty damn good. They've got a good roster. And they're seemingly trying to turn it around. They're a couple games below 500. I mean, they're right there at the playoff race. So the AL's pathetic, but I'm hoping, David, that they take your philosophy, because I have been leery that teams will be reluctant to make trades because they're in it. I hope that they take your philosophy and it's just the opposite. Hey, I can make a move now and change the fortunes of my team. and that the trades will start in June, not mid-July.
Well, quickly, give me the number. You're an American League GM. We're in a meeting, and I say to you, boss, how many wins do you think it'll take to make the playoffs? I mean, what's your answer?
84.
Okay. Hell, that looks pretty good these days, 84 and 68 or 78. Damn.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. And your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332516.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yes, it is, DC. Yes. Ambient, as playoff disappointments go, right now, where does that one rank?
So
I know.
here's college sports in 2026. I'm seeing this post on X as Paul is celebrating EMU, Eastern Michigan, going to the next round of the women's golf. They have 2 players from California who are high-dollar NIL transfers that only take online classes and rarely visit Eastern Michigan. They only meet them at tournaments. Well, nothing like team camaraderie by flying players in for the meet.
See, no, Ambient. I'm asking you not to rank all time in hockey.
And it's ahead of the Bruins. That was a 7-game series. You got swept by Vegas. You can dice this up any way you want.
Yeah, Ambient. I meant for you personally, as a Colorado sports fan, where does this playoff disappointment rank?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Andy Baskin will join us to talk about the future of the Cavs. Do they need to break this group up? Came out yesterday, said they're keeping the coach. Is that a mistake? Andy Baskin, 1 hour from now. It's a hump day.
I'm glad you explained that because I thought we were talking Browns with him. I had no idea where we were going. Yeah, Guardians in first place. I'm like, where's he going with Andy? I saw the text. I'm like, is he really expecting to do Cavs for a segment?
No, I'm expecting to do Cavs and a touch of Guardians, and because you know what Cavs mean, is the missing piece, who.
Right.
Which, in the history of the franchise, how many times have they made it to the finals without who? So that's what Andy Baskin's for. He'll join us in an hour. Seth Everett in a little more than that. And Jarrett Ramirez to talk about this Texas Tech story that no one's going to let die. He'll join us in a couple hours' time. Right now, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
And we'll start with the NBA. Oklahoma City took control of the game in the second quarter. Never let up. SGA with 32 points. Caruso with 22 points off the bench, which outscored San Antonio's bench by 7. OKC outshot the Spurs 48-40% for the game. What was most impressive to me, Mark, they were +7 on the boards after the Spurs had pretty much been beating them 3 out of the 4 games. Stephen Castle had a nice game for the Spurs with 24. But Wemby struggled, and so did San Antonio. Oklahoma City a winner by 13, 127-114. They're a game away from returning to the NBA Finals. Remember, they won it last year in 7 over Indiana. Game 6 is tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern on NBC. Games at San Antonio. Spurs a 3.5-point favorite.
San Antonio got it to 8. There was a goaltend call that wasn't made, and then there was a ball that went out of bounds. That should have been San Antonio's ball. They gave it to OKC. When the coach tried to challenge, I don't know if they didn't see it. I don't know exactly what happened, but he ended up getting a technical. And that little turn of events was kind of it for San Antonio.
I don't know how he couldn't get it looked at. He is literally right next to the official telling him he wants it looked at.
Right.
And the official is ignoring him, seemingly, so that play can resume and he can go back down the other side of the court. I mean, it was incredulous video. It's like you couldn't believe what you were seeing. Like, well, how the hell are you not stopping the game and giving him a look-see at this?
And that was when the game was inside of 10. I'm not saying that San Antonio comes back and wins, but if they had any shot, it went away in the course of those two plays.
And I thought it was goaltending also.
It was. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just making sure we're on the same page.
It was goaltending.
Okay. Hockey. Vegas did it. Not only did they beat Colorado, which is impressive enough, hell, they swept the Avs. The best team in the league all season, and the best team in the league once the playoffs started as well. Nobody had taken that title from them, not even Carolina, when they went 8-0 in the first 2 rounds. And what Vegas did was Vegas dominated the third period. And Vegas kept talking about wearing them out. We're going to wear them down. And I don't know what got in Vegas's head, that they were the more physically fit team, or that the team who plays in altitude, who you would think would be able to handle third periods better than anybody. But Vegas manhandled Colorado in the third period, outscoring them 8-3. Last night, Mark Stone with a breakaway goal in the first period. How does that happen? I don't understand that. A defenseman is at his own face-off dot, and he literally throws just a pass that you hope would get intercepted, but you're changing field position. And instead, the pass is literally caught by Mark Stone at the other blue line, and he drops it down, skates in, and scores. What? And that stood up forever until about 6 minutes to go when Cole Smith deflected in one from near the blue line. Colorado scored with 2 minutes to go to make it interesting, but Vegas wins 2-1. Sweep the series. 7th time that the number 1 seed overall has been swept. They were outscored 14-7 in the series and 8-3 in the third period. And Las Vegas is waiting to see whether they're going to play Carolina or Montreal. That series is 2-1 Carolina. Game 4 tonight in Montreal. Montreal has just lost back-to-back games for the first time in the playoffs. And they lost back-to-back games by a score of 3-2 in overtime. Both games. We'll see what happens north of the border tonight. Baseball. Rays have lost 3 in a row. They made 3 errors, cost them all 6 multiple runs being unearned. Baltimore beat Tampa Bay 6-1. By the way, the Rays earlier in the day acquired Craig Kimbrell from the Mets. Kimbrell pitched a scoreless inning for the Rays last night. Yankees, meanwhile, pounded Kansas City. They had 6 homers, and they did something, Mark, that a New York Yankees team has never done before. And that statement should get everybody's attention right then and there. But every Yankee in the starting lineup got at least 2 hits last night. At least 2. Yankees had never done that before. 15-1, New York over KC. Atlanta rallied. Michael Harris with 4 hits and 4 RBIs plus a homer. Braves 7-6 over the Red Sox. Toronto 8-1 over the Marlins thanks to a 6-run six. Marlins winning streak snapped at 4. The Cubs have lost 10 in a row. Yikes. How would you like to have lost 9 in a row and see Pittsburgh put up 5 in the first? I mean, isn't that hated? We want to go home. Can we go home? Do we have to wait it out? What's the run rule in the majors? Can we go? 12-1 Pirates. Angels got a Vaughn Grisham homer along with his 6 RBIs. Angels beat the Tigers 10-6. The Nats doubled up Cleveland 6-3 thanks to a 4-run second. The Nats are 2 games above 500. And meanwhile, Cleveland's lead in the Central is cut to 3.5. It'd be 2.5, but the White Sox lost to the Twins 5-3 and 11. Bases loaded double in the 11th by Brooks Lee. The difference, White Sox in second place at 500. Twins in third place, 1 game below 500. Brewers shut out the Cardinals 6-0 thanks to a 5-run fifth. Milwaukee leads the Cardinals by 3.5. The Reds beat the Mets 7-2. Think about how awful the Mets would be if not for Juan Soto. He keeps homering, and they keep getting blown out. He had a 2-run shot last night. The Phillies edged the Padres 4-3 because Harper, JT Realmuto, and Trey Turner all hit homers. They won 4 in a row. Or excuse me, the Padres have lost 3 in a row, and the Dodgers have won 4 in a row. LA 15-6 over the Rockies. Mookie Betts put in the cleanup spot, tried to get him going. He had 2 homers and 5 RBIs. So Texas gets no hit Monday night, and they score 8 runs in the first inning Tuesday night. Unreal. Texas 10-7 over Houston. Seattle 4-1 over the A's, and a rather remarkable streak came to an end. Nick Kurtz for the A's had gotten on base in 48 consecutive games. He tied the all-time franchise record, but he did not get on base last night. And while that's pretty impressive, imagine that DiMaggio had a 56-game hitting streak, not just an on-base streak. Finally, Arizona's won 9 of 10. They beat the Giants 7 of 5. I'd like to take a moment and talk about Bob Horner, if that's okay. You had TBS in the late 70s and early 80s, and we watched a lot of Braves baseball on TBS. Dale Murphy was the guy, but Bob Horner was the caddy. He was Robin. He had 4 homers in a game once. He never played in the minors. He went straight from starring in Arizona State to going right to the Braves, and he homered off Hall of Famer Burt Blyleven in his first ever game. He was Rookie of the Year. The college baseball decided they were going to come up with a Hall of Fame 20 years ago. How good was Bob Horner? He was inducted in the first ever class of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Bob Horner was 68. A very disturbing story out of Green Bay. 28-year-old running back Josh Jacobs arrested on numerous domestic abuse charges. Facing battery, domestic abuse, disorderly conduct, and intimidation of a victim. The disorderly conduct comes with it a strangulation and suffocation charge. That's a felony. The rest are misdemeanors. Being held without bond, and the incident happened Saturday. You wonder how serious the authorities think it might be. Finally, Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby denied in his reinstatement appeal by the NCAA. The school, however, is 100% behind his next appeal, which has a Lubbock court date of Monday, June 1st. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting five. 5 big stories you need to know here on Miller and Moulton.
By the way, the challenges aren't as good as what I thought, David. I had looked them up during the last break, and it's only 53% success for the AVS. Now, the batters are 47%. Looks like they're trying a little too much because the fielders are 58%. The Reds catchers are the best in the game. 75% of their challenges won. Doesn't really result in winning because the Tigers are second and they have one of the worst records in the sport. Kansas City, for batters, their batters have done the best job 60% of the time. But there are only 6 teams that are above 500 or above 50% from a batting standpoint. From a catching standpoint, much different. There are only 4 teams that are below 50%. The White Sox, Pirates, Astros, and Red Sox, their pitchers and catchers doing the worst job. So just for what it's worth, we were talking to the ABS last segment, looked up some numbers. I thought it was a little bit higher than that. It's not.
Well, glad you gave us the updated numbers. That's always good. When we come back, I will update you on something that I missed that was supposed to be in the starting five.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes
Your
alive.
roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities, They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
And maybe he can learn from Joe Sakic, who is an all-time great. But this year was not a good year for Nathan McKinnon. He choked in the gold medal game, and then he had a bad series in the conference finals. It's not what great players are supposed to do.
I didn't see your answer, Ambient. So are you saying this is the worst?
He does.
Because I would think it is. Johnny Yo, I think you know what I was trying to say, and maybe I didn't say it all that well, but once again, you were there to point it out. You haven't made a single comment in forever, but man, if I didn't state something properly, you're there. Really need to win that lottery.
No. He's an all-time great talent, but until you win the Stanley Cup, you don't get on that list. He has one? Did he win? He was there for their last one? Okay.
Yeah, he's got the one.
I know Ambient, if he plays for a Denver team, that means that he's greater than other players, but you only watch your teams. I've been watching sports for 45 years. He's really talented. Yeah, Ovi's the all-time goal scoring leader, Ambient. Don't Don't make yourself look worse than you are already. If Johnny O corrects every mistake we make, and Ambient, you point out how great every Denver player is. Watch something else, please.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Welcome back. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. And something that I had written down here, and I really don't know why I glossed over it, but one NFL note, Mark, that I wanted to include in the starting five and didn't. Manny Fernandez passed away yesterday. He actually passed away a couple days ago at the age of 79. He was on those great Dolphin teams in the early 70s. He didn't play all that long. He played 8 years, all right, had a good, not great career, but he was a very good / great player on those Dolphins teams, though, that went to 3 straight Super Bowls. So sorry for skimming over that. Didn't mean to, but obviously they keep passing on us. Manny Fernandez passing away at the age of 79. So just wanted to make sure we got that.
You and I love our hockey.
Yeah.
And we will talk about hockey as much as we can, which might be part of our blindness to what's popular in sports. And I know a lot of our audience likes hockey based on the markets that we're in. But with the TV numbers being as good as they've been throughout the playoffs and really since the Olympic break, because people watched the USA-Canada game that was on early in the morning, and they've been watching hockey ever since. The numbers show it. Not like they watch the NBA. It's not close. But boy, oh boy, this is setting up to be disappointing for the NHL right now. Because I don't know if they wanted Vegas or Colorado. Colorado had the bet of your year. Colorado's got a couple of stars on their team. Vegas is Vegas. So there's a certain pizzazz, if you will, that goes with just a Las Vegas team. But they don't win from either side in the East. One's a Canadian market, and the other's Carolina.
Correct. I think they needed Colorado and Buffalo. That's what I thought they needed to get any chance at ratings in this country. I thought they needed Colorado and Buffalo. But obviously that's not to be.
No, I mean, I think the Stanley Cup final TV ratings are going to be poor because of who's in it. Right?
Yep. And if you're ESPN and you've got the finals this year, don't you have to try to market the Olympians that were on Vegas and whoever is going to represent the East? And don't you have to try to wrap the flag around these guys one more time? It's your last time you'll be able to do it this year, right?
Absolutely, but there's not a lot of them, is there?
Not really.
I mean, like, the best American on the Montreal Canadiens wasn't picked for the Olympic team. It was kind of controversial.
Right. Cole Caulfield. Correct. So I mean, in theory, you need one guy on each team, and that's who you need for the Open, 10 seconds on each, blah, blah, blah. What about, can you mention Canadian Olympians or no?
What does that, I mean, I don't know what that does for I probably would, but I mean, you've got Aho, you've got, Stone. I mean, you got Jack Eichel, right? I mean, So I don't know. I think that they're in a spot because there are teams that don't draw a lot of fans from a viewership standpoint, markets, that is. And in Vegas's case, they were a non-factor all season long.
Yep.
Were not talked about by anyone. And Carolina might as well be on the witness protection program in hockey. They don't show them on TV. They don't care about them. Very good team. We knew it going into the playoffs that the odds are to get to the Stanley Cup final, whoever came out of the other division was going to have to beat the Carolina Hurricanes. But both TNT and ESPN don't talk about them.
Well, be the second year in a row that the hockey was amazing, but the wrong teams won for the league the further they went.
Right. I mean, the NHL would have rather had Tampa or Buffalo instead of Montreal. They would. Now, not maybe the NHL, the American side of the NHL, because obviously the Canadians playing in the Stanley Cup final would do huge numbers, even bigger numbers than what it will draw during the Stanley Cup finals north of the border. But because basketball is going to kill it, David. The Knicks are in the NBA finals. It doesn't even matter who they play. I think they would draw a little bit better if it's Wemby, but I don't think it makes a damn bit of difference.
I agree with you on both counts. By the way, what was that first thing you said? You say the Knicks are in the finals?
Yes.
I've seen that. I've read it. I'm just still having a little trouble believing it. That's why sometimes I may need you to reinforce that.
What did I see? Belichick's girlfriend wasn't even born the last.
Oh, my goodness. I got one of those lists yesterday, too, sent to me.
That was the only one I saw that made me laugh. That one cracked me up because they're going to keep coming. I mean, it's been that, it's been this century, as we've pointed out.
Right.
But I will say that the Western Conference Finals, game one was great. Game one was an all-timer. The Colorado-Vegas series was more interesting, and it was a sweep, if you know what I mean. This is when you stand back. Well, it's 3-2. San Antonio wins at home. We get a game 7, and I hope we do. I hope all of you that love the NBA get your game 7. I want it because I enjoy watching Wemby play. But we've had one great game in that series. The rest of them have been eh. The Knicks have kicked the crap out of Cleveland outside of the first game where they made the huge comeback. So the NBA conference finals, while the right team won for the NBA, and we have two really good teams playing one another in the West, the games themselves have not been that compelling. So I don't know, you're going to take it if you're the NBA because their numbers have been really strong in the playoffs. Really strong.
Game one of Spurs Thunder did over 9 million, peaked to 12 million during the second overtime. That was the most watched game one in Western Conference Finals history. And it was obviously number one for NBC. Yeah, until they televised game two. And then that did nearly 1 million more viewers at 10.1 million. So the 2-game average mark, what NBC is telling advertisers and anybody else who will listen. I don't know what network had the Western Conference Finals last year. Was it ESPN? It probably was. And then I guess TNT had the East in their final year. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But NBC is out telling advertisers that their first 2 games of the conference finals are an 82% increase over last year's first 2 games of the West Finals. And it's the highest rated Western Conference Finals mark since 2011.
Well, got to tell you, the TV number, I mean, that seems unbelievable. Let me ask you just a simple question, David. With the new rating systems, which are benefiting sports greatly, I mean, unbelievably,
Yes.
do you believe it? Do you believe the numbers are that good? Because I don't.
Yeah, I do. Because, and this is my bias, Mark, I have always thought sports on television, sports on radio was the worst rated format in the industry. I have always thought, I mean, Mark, we did those epic SEC games on CBS at 3:30. And 4 million viewers was considered a really good Saturday? What? 4 million? Are you serious? I don't know anybody who's watching college football that wasn't watching 3:30 Eastern on CBS for 15 years. What the hell else were you watching? So, yeah, I think the system's been off for a very long time. But also, Mark, they've gone just vague enough because now what are they trying to include? Out of home viewing. Oh, well, blank. So what's that? I mean, is that all the phones on in the car? That shouldn't be? Is that all the sports bars in America?
That are at maximum capacity, apparently. I mean, are they saying that the bar that holds 175 always has ones? How the hell do they know? I mean, I just don't buy it. I don't buy that year to year the NBA's up 82%.
Oh, I don't either.
Come
But
on.
I just think that the new rating system is closer to the truth than the old rating system was.
Okay. I mean, the jumps are astronomical.
They are.
It bodes well for the people who are selling sports on TV. It bodes well for the networks that are carrying sports. It does. It makes marketing people who have bought sports advertising look like geniuses with their company. I get it. I have trouble believing that the rise was this tremendous, and that it was always this, and now we're up. And I mean, it's not just hoop. Everything's up massive numbers. Seems too good to be true, I guess, David. That's where I am. Speaking of too good to be true, something that you have all complained about for years looks as if it may be over. We'll explain next. Miller and Moulton.
Go! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332516.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, I forget who in the chat was asking, but the system was what the system was, and it's all we had to sell off of and talk about. And we had to take the quote unquote bad ratings. We had a couple of bad agencies when Mark and I just sold in the 239. And we had a couple of ad agencies who were local. They weren't ad agencies who were from out of town, who didn't know the market. And they knew how many people were listening to our show. And the ratings would come in and they would laugh because they would continue to be able to pay $5 commercials for us and own the station and totally own our show. Because the ratings said that 17 people were listening to the station and 20 were listening to our show. And there's two businesses that flat out built their business on the backs of Miller and Moulton. And their owners have told us that. And it was all because the system was faulty.
None whatsoever, Ambient. None at all. I have no interest in tennis anymore. I'll maybe tune into 5 seconds of Wimbledon. Maybe. No interest in the sport whatsoever anymore.
I watched about 90 minutes yesterday, late afternoon. I will say TNT does such a better job of covering this compared to ESPN. Wow. I saw Sinner win and Pagula lose. Well, Rowdy, unfortunately, I've got some health issues and it's affected my voice. So yeah, me too.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for everything. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thank you for listening. We thank you for your comments. Remember, 21,000. That's how you can text the show. If you've never done it before, then you have to send one keyword one time, Miller. And unless you know some way to spell Miller besides Miller and Moulton, then you know what it takes to text the show.
Think Miller High Life. Think Miller Light. Think even Miller Genuine Draft. They sponsored a car for a while, didn't they, David?
Yes, they did. Rusty Wallace. Yes, they had Miller Light and Genuine Draft. Okay, sponsored Rusty. Absolutely.
I think High Life had a car for a while, way back when, too. Way back then.
Didn't they have one of the Labantes? And I think it was Bobby for a while.
You would know better than me, David. I just remember certain cars, certain, I remember that, the Skull Bandit car. You know who drove it. I've never been a NASCAR fan. I just always thought it was hilarious that tobacco couldn't advertise and that there was a Skull Bandit car. I mean, that was always funny to me. And that it was the Winston Cup. So,
right.
But speaking of the South, David, SEC media days. I mean, they have a lot of these apparently. They need a couple.
Goodness.
They have a couple of different weeks in which they all show up somewhere and talk into microphones. But the commissioner talked yesterday and said a couple of things. One, David, we're not getting to 16 anytime soon, I don't think. He does not want expansion of the college football playoff, that being Greg Sankey.
Okay.
Hey, they need unanimous, right?
Yes, they do.
So without him, they're not going to get, and by they, I mean Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, is not going to get what he wants. And I will say, I think fan support is more 12 than 16 or 24. I do. Most people, whether it's in the chat room, whether it's on the text line, whether it's just BSing with guys that I play golf with, everybody seems comfortable with 12. You and I don't think that's going to last, but I think if we were to choose what's best for the sport, what would you choose, David?
Well,
12, 16, or 24? No. For the not for money, for what you think's the most competitive, what you think makes for the best college football. Which would you pick?
16.
I'd pick 12. I'd pick 8, but if we're not going backward, I'd keep the status quo before I'd ever go higher than that.
Right. Now, very quickly, it's difficult for you to say best interest of the sport and then say, but that I can't consider money, because I'm really not sure what the sport's about anymore, if not for money.
Well, sorry, I'm living with my head in the sand.
No,
at least for that question.
Right.
But the other thing that Greg Sankey said yesterday, and this one to me was so refreshing. And I'm guessing David, and he may have even texted Gary Danielson, his old colleague at CBS when they worked the SEC. and a few others. Maybe some of the spotters they worked with. Hell, I don't even know. He might have bothered Vern on a cruise yesterday for all I know. But Greg Sankey said no more cupcake weekend. Those were his words.
Yep.
And I searched like a son of a gun, and I'm sure it sounds out there, but I couldn't find it because I wanted to play his voice on the show. Say no more cupcake weekend. And you all, if you follow college football, you all know to a man or to a woman exactly what I'm talking about. The weekend before rivalry week, everybody played a bunch of patsies. Alabama's hosting the Citadel. If they played at all. Because, Florida for years and Georgia, I'm sorry, I started that without including both. They generally made sure the week before the cocktail party that they had a bye. Okay. But late in the season, before the big conference rival, and it wasn't always this way with Florida and Florida State because they're obviously not in the same conference, but they would play a horrific game that second to last week of the college football season. They all did it. LSU, Alabama, they all do it. Well, now that they are going to 9 conference games, Greg Sankey said beginning in 2027, they will be playing a conference game that week. And this has to have a bunch of football coaches upset. The networks, and by networks, I mean ESPN, is celebrating finally getting what we have literally talked about on this show for 20 years. So I am curious, first off, David, was I correct in my assumption, and we all know where you can go with that, and that you sent a text or received a text from former or 2 former CBS colleagues yesterday when you heard about that announcement?
It's about damn time. It's 3 years too late. Oh, yeah. Got about 4 of them yesterday. I did not send one to Gary. Okay, because listen, Gary doesn't care. Gary will do Alabama LSU. Gary will do Alabama Troy. He truly doesn't care. He puts as much time into preparing for both. Okay, he does the same prep an hour before the game. I'm looking stuff up as if it was the game of the year. So he doesn't care. Everybody else did.
All right. And he really doesn't care now because he's retired. And yeah. I'm guessing probably 30 minutes away from a tea time right now.
I was going to say, he gone.
He's probably working on wedges, working his way up to the driver right now for 18 holes of golf at some point today. But I did get a chuckle yesterday when literally no more cupcake weekend. That's what the commissioner of the SEC said. That statement had to throw you a little bit, David.
I laughed. I said, oh, sure, admit it now. Admit it now. But when we said it to you, you yelled back at us and denied that that was the case. Okay, Mark, all I know is we ended up doing games that cupcake schedule week that would get a 1.2 rating. And obviously, we were the highest rated game every week, except for that week, because we're airing garbage. We used to joke with Mississippi State, Kentucky, hey, it's your chance to get on. Schedule somebody good.
Now, they won't because nobody has a sense of humor anymore, particularly conferences that have TV deals with ESPN. But because this year the cupcakes will happen, it starts in 2027. That week prior to cupcake weekend, I would advertise hard with all cupcake. Like I would put the cupcake games on. I would have cupcakes in the advertising. I would have the announcers licking frosting. I mean, I would embrace this for the final time, and I would be thrown out of the room when we were doing the marketing meetings, but I would jump in the deep end with the cupcakes.
I'm totally with you. If I'm ESPN, how they go all crazy with Capital One Bowl week. Okay, it'd be SEC Cupcake Week. Okay.
Exactly. And on game day, instead of bringing the food out from the local restaurant, I'd find a bakery.
Yep.
And I would serve nothing but cupcakes. Plus, Des loves his sweets. He'd have about 6, 7 of them. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Never have, never will, DC.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes on the top of the hour. Seth Everett will join us then for his weekend on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Andy Baskin's kind enough to join us once again when something's going on in Cleveland. We give him a holler. He usually answers us and is in surprisingly good moods when he does. Andy, part of the midday show on 92.3 The Fan. You can follow Andy on X at Andy_Baskin, Andy_Baskin. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. It is a good. I'm doing outstanding. The first thing I read this morning is Travis Kelce is buying into the Cleveland Guardians. So life is good. Life is good.
Well, let's start with the Guardians because the rest of that division's an unbridled mess. And Cleveland was kind of messy for a while. It looks as if here in the last couple of weeks, they've found themselves. They're playing pretty good baseball.
Yeah, I think the biggest part of it, it's always they mess with the lineup a little bit too. Jose Ramirez has been jumped around. Travis Bazzana, who was the number 1 overall pick a couple years ago, got called up. I don't know. It's probably been a month now. I don't even know if it's been a month, but all he does is get on base. It's all he does is get on base, and he's been doing a nice job. They lost to the Nationals last night, but they're playing pretty good baseball. And as long as the pitching staff can hold out, which is weird for this team because normally it's the pitching that gets them through things. But even Cantillo, who pitched last night, who's been pretty good, he even struggled last night. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with the pitching staff, but they're starting to get some hitting, which is really nice.
All right. I said that Cleveland this year has a chance to be last year's Seattle, where Seattle finally at the deadline went out, spent a little money, spent a couple prospects, and went out and got 2 legit bats, one who even re-signed with them. He loved it so much. And they made some serious noise and nearly made the LCS. Okay, well, they made the LCS. I think Cleveland's that team this year. Are you going to tell me, sorry, if it involves money or prospects, the Guardians are a no?
I don't know. It's a weird spot they're in right now. David Blitzer is probably going to take over ownership of the team after we get through this the labor strife at the end of the season. Who knows if we're even playing baseball next year? But Blitzer was involved last time when they decided to give Ramirez more money and kind of restructure, which was probably the biggest story of the summer for the Guardians. So it's interesting to see that maybe they might put a little bit more cash into this team and maybe go out and get somebody, but they believe in their farm system. They believe in, the homegrown stuff, and we'll see what happens. I never expect anything at the trade deadline. Normally what'll happen is someone will get hurt here in the next couple of weeks, and then they'll come back right after the trade deadline. And one of the guys in the front office will come, well, it's just great to get, Bob Smith back from injury. That's like making a trade for us. It's consistent. You hear it like almost every other year.
Well, the Cavs were a win or bust team this year, and then they run into the red hot Knicks. After game 1, there wasn't anything there. Game 1 was a historic collapse, and then things went awry very quickly. They bring the coach back. Where's the blame falling for what happened in the conference finals? Was it just they ran into a great team, or is there blame to be thrown around?
I mean, to be truthful, if you look at this without emotion, they ran out of gas. 2 7-game series going up against what might be the hottest team in NBA history for the playoffs. That's what happened. I mean, really, if you want to not be a sports talk caller and you don't want to be a sports talk host and you want to just kind of sit back and look and say, wow, they played 14 games in 28 days and then add another 4 to that. So, I mean, they played every day since the end of the season, since the play-in tournament. I just think when they blew that lead in game 1, it was over because there was nothing left in the tank. If you go back and watch, like the ability to hustle back on defense went away. Even Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, all their shots were falling short. And I think anybody that's ever played the game knows that, when your legs are tired, your shots are going to fall short. And that's really what we saw. I hate to be so analytical about it because, I was not happy with James Harden. Kenny Atkinson was a brutal coach during this. The fact that he didn't take a timeout sooner during the 22-point collapse in game one, it's just there were so many little things that he could have done better to coach. Didn't use a bench that was unbelievably fresh. I'm not saying that, Thomas Bryant was going to give you, 20 minutes, but he could have given you 5 and given somebody a break and letting some of the starters have a couple less minutes going into this thing. And I still don't know if they would have won even if he would have played the bench.
Well, the Inside the NBA crew, for what it's worth, they said the Cavs should look at the Knicks and do what they did. The Knicks got as far as they had gotten the last couple of years with the prominent guys on the team being guys that just dribbled standing still in the backcourt. And that's Donovan Mitchell and James Harden on the Cavs. And they said, and when the Knicks became a great team is when they had the offense go through Karl Anthony Towns and through other people, and the ball started moving. And then that's when they became a great team. And that's what the Cavs need to figure out, how to make the offense go through the big guys. Well,
yep.
Doesn't that bring us to, if you have Donovan Mitchell and James Harden on the team next year, the ball's not going to go through the big guys, and Harden has a player option, and he has no reason not to exercise it.
So I think what the talk here is that he won't exercise it, but the Cavaliers are going to end up giving him a 2-year deal on the other side of this thing. At least that was the rumor, and still kind of the talk around here that they won't do that, but what they want to do is give Harden a different contract, because that way, if they do that, they can restructure and get under the second apron. Where the Cavaliers are the only team in that second apron, and they are paying a heavy penalty. So, Dan Gilbert's not scared to spend money, and if money could fix things, he would do it. The problem is, how far into the second luxury cap do they want to go, and do they want to stay? And if they can get under it, they clearly want to. There's a lot of talk about LeBron James coming back, and I don't know how they can afford it. There's a $51 million difference between what they can offer him and $3 million next year, and what he's making in LA right now. LeBron's not coming here for free, I can tell you that, if that's what they want to do. But let me go back to your original point. When James Harden first got here, what you explained, what the TNT guys explained, is what we saw. We saw Harden and Mitchell moving the ball, and the offense was going through Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, and we saw what the Knicks were doing. I think that they went into panic mode after that first game, and they went away from that. And Harden, I think the thing that surprised me the most about him when he got here was how generous he was with the ball, how much he was moving the ball, how much they were trying to find the guys down low. And when he first got here, the Cavaliers looked really, really good because of what TNT laid out. And it's one of the reasons they were a Final Four team. Again, I'm not making excuses. They should have played better in 4 games. This team was 100% out of gas when they got to the finals.
All right. You mentioned him, LeBron. I know that you say they can't afford him, and I get that he's not going to play for a huge discount. Is there any way to make it happen? Let's just say, to make this argument work, the LA Lakers are telling him behind the scenes, because I don't think anybody's going public to embarrass LeBron at this point, go find another team. We really don't want you back. If that were the
with
case,
Bronny, right? Take your son with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll get you. We'll get you a nice place in Akron. But
he's already got one. He's good.
Okay. All right. So is there any way? Is there any way to find the money? Would they have to get rid of a player? Because there is some poetic justice to LeBron finishing in Cleveland. There is. We can all see it from the outside. One, would they want him back in Cleveland at this point? And 2, is there any way to make it work?
Okay. 1, he's the missing piece for what they had. If you go back, if you could add LeBron to Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, and Allen, you have what should be a team that can contend for the title. The problem is the age. You're talking about having guys over 37, between Harden and LeBron, and, Donovan's younger, but, you're talking about an older team, and it would be really interesting to see how they would play out the regular season if they did it. Could they do it? Dan Gilbert could find a way to do this and figure it out. I do think, though, and I was, the folks at Cleveland.com laid out a really good argument this morning as I was reading what they were saying, that, they would probably have to do a sign and trade with Jarrett Allen to free up some kind of cash so that they get him. They can't really make a move while they're in the second apron. So they have a lot of restrictions on them on trying to make a move and get him, but they would have to break up what they have. I think Harden's coming back next year. Mitchell seemed very committed after they lost game 4. I think Donovan's a leader. I think I don't know that he's a top 5 guy in the league, but he's a top 10 guy in the league. And yeah, there are just a lot of things about this team there to like, but the key though is to go through. They've got to go through Mobley, and if they can keep Allen, which I thought played outstanding towards the end of the year, because he was getting always ripped for being soft and this and that. He's not. I really, really like Jarrett Allen. They don't have much of a bench though either, so they're going to have to rebuild some of that. But this all comes down to, playing salary cap gymnastics and trying to figure out a way to make the team better with or without LeBron. And you're right, the LeBron story would be super interesting. There's still a part of me that thinks that while Dan Gilbert and LeBron James, made up for him to come back and give this team their only championship in 2016, I still don't think there's a lot of love there. And I think there would be no greater accomplishment for Dan Gilbert in his own mind to win a championship without LeBron. They were really proud of the fact they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time ever without LeBron. So,
can they, salary-wise, can they just trade Harden for LeBron?
No. Well, they don't. Harden can do what he wants at the end. I don't
know,
think it's that easy.
But I mean, think about this, Andy. If I'm the Cavs and I say to Harden, listen, you can exercise your option. You ain't going to play in Cleveland next year. I don't know what to tell you. So I may ship your butt someplace you really don't want to be. And is that really how you want to go out at 37? Okay, so don't pick up your option, buddy. I'm just telling you that right now. You ain't playing here next year. Okay, and is that how they trade Harden for LeBron?
Well, I mean, LeBron's a free agent, so you're just saying trade off the roster, trade spots. I don't think so. See, here's the other part. They brought Harden in to make themselves a better team. Mission accomplished. They did more than they did the year before. I just don't see them. Harden didn't have to come here, and I truly believe there was some kind of understanding between the front office and Harden's group for him, if he was going to come here, that there would be more than just this season. That I think is one of the underlying factors. Like, the way you say it is probably the way I would say it too. Hey, we'll see you later, Harden. You were horrible in the Eastern Conference Finals, and you just didn't play that well, and you went into panic mode, and you had turned the ball over way too many times, and blah, 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 blah. Like, as a fan, I think we see that. I don't think the Cavaliers see it that way. I think they see it as, here's a guy that kind of made a commitment to us already by even coming here and waiving his no-trade clause to get here. So, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, I could easily see them moving on from Harden, but I think there's something going on in the front office that keeps Harden here.
The only thing I'm thinking with LeBron, and I'm not even saying a discount, Andy, and LeBron's made so much money as a player, more than the generations before him. But there's part of me that would say, LeBron, call Magic up and see how he's done being Dan Gilbert's business partner. There are opportunities for you outside of basketball to be rich, even beyond your dreams. And you're already incredible. Do you want to own a team? Dan Gilbert can help you get there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think that meeting happened when he came back the first time from Miami. Right. So I think they've had that conversation. Again, Dan's been through a lot since LeBron was here before. Obviously, he had a big stroke, and he's lucky to be with us. And I think that Dan maybe changed his whole philosophy on a lot of things. That's one of the reasons. In the past, if he was a newer owner, I don't think Kenny Atkinson would have been. He would have been cleaning out his office yesterday. Let's not forget, they had David Blatt at one point when LeBron was here. They had been to the NBA Finals, and they were in first place, and Dan Gilbert fired him. I mean, I mean, you want to talk about a tough spot to be in, and so they fired Blatt when they were in first place and had coming off NBA Finals. Now they brought in Ty Lue, who was already here, and Ty did a fantastic job while he was here. It's a different world, and I don't know. I think there's some patience now that Dan has that he didn't have before.
He's Andy Baskin. He's one half of Baskin and Phelps middays on 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. Follow him on X at Andy_Baskin, Baskin. Andy, as always, thanks. All the best to you and your family.
No worries. Have a great day and enjoy the sunshine. I'm sure you guys have it. Sometimes we just got the sun yesterday. Very exciting. Summer will be the next 2 weeks, and then we'll get right back to fall.
And see, we didn't even bring up the Browns. And yet he's still, dour. Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett is next.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Go!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio, with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hi, Seth.
Hola.
How are you?
I'm good. That guy was good. Whoever you had on last
Yeah,
time.
he's a very good Cleveland guy. We've had Andy on for Andy Baskin is his name. He's terrific.
That's no longer, but I think Andy was hired by my guy Andy Roth in Cleveland. Andy Roth was the guy who hired me at MLB.
Gotcha. So I don't see, I mean, I'm not knocking Jersey here, but just weather-wise, because my daughter's out of school. And I don't know when your daughters started becoming more ladies than girls, if you know what I mean. But yesterday I had this moment. I was on the phone. It was about 2:30 in the afternoon, and my daughter walked by me and pointed, we got a pool. We got a nice pool area. My daughter's in her swimsuit with a towel around her and a spritz water bottle. And she just points, basically saying, I'm going to go lay in the sun now. And she goes and lays in the chair and she's spritzing herself to cool down. I am bent over in hysterics. I am laughing. I'm like, look at you. You really think you're something. That you are no longer the little girl that wants to play games. You are now a little lady. It just was it and she still, still does sports and still into all that stuff.
How old?
She just turned 12.
12. That's so cute.
Just finished 6th grade. So it's just funny. Funnier than hell.
Well, last night, my girls asked me, they were like, can you do laundry? She goes, we need stuff for school tomorrow. And I said, sure. So I do it. And I'm trying to fold it. And it's these ripped t-shirts and tank tops. And I have no idea how any of this goes. I was like, this is not clothes. What are you wearing here?
I'm not allowed. Well, obviously, I'm still married, so I'm not allowed to touch laundry in our house. One, because I'm one who leaves it in the washer too long, which drives my wife nuts. Or even worse, I leave it in the dryer where it wrinkles. That bothers her even more. So I'm not allowed. And I like it that way. I cook, she does laundry.
Yeah, I cook too. Although my kid cooks now, she's just such a slob.
My daughter is, what she wanted to learn. So she made herself breakfast. I'm like, all right, I'll show you to make scrambled eggs. And I'm like, all right, I do expect all the dishes to be done when I get done with the show. I don't need a mess left for me.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Hey, buddy. Hi, David.
Hey, Seth.
How are you?
Okay.
Yeah. I like that you put the little poll question in the screen there.
Yeah, you can do that now on StreamYard. That's kind of fun. Someone said, "Where's the poll question?" So that's all I had.
All right.
I'm picking on the Avs today.
Yeah. Well, I guess you should. Yeah, the two teams I wanted, Montreal and Colorado. It doesn't look good for either one.
No, we'll see about Montreal. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Seth Everett joins us at this day and time, the 8 a.m. hour Eastern on Hump Day. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, guys. After Friday, I wasn't sure you guys were going to have me back, so I'm glad to be back here.
That was Seth, my favorite part as I was typing for the podcast and recapping the hour, Seth's epic rant on the World Cup. That I knew I was teeing you up when they gave the $1,050 tickets to New York City residents only, and I already knew you weren't a big fan of the World Cup. So I knew it would be good, but you did better than even I expected with grooving you that 78-mile-an-hour straight ball there.
It was a softball right there. Yeah, you were playing to my wheelhouse. Although the newest thing is that Penn Station is going to have the National Guard because there's a night where there's a World Cup game at MetLife, and the only way to get there for 80,000 people is the train. And the Knicks are in the finals on the same night. Good luck. I won't be leaving my apartment.
Is it a Knicks home game for
Yeah,
sure?
that would be a Knicks. The way they mapped it out,
Oh,
it would
boy.
be a Knicks home game. Enjoy. Everyone, please. Bravo. Bravo. Very well done.
Well, I have to admit, Seth, if you're the World Cup and if somebody said, well, we could get in trouble with the NBA Finals. I mean, remember, it was awarded a few years ago. Somebody could be forgiven if they were a wise ass at the table and said, are you serious? You think someone in the New York metropolitan area is going to be in either the NBA or the NHL Finals?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Speaking of the NHL, the Golden Knights are the first Stanley Cup team with under 40 wins in an 80-plus game series in 24 years.
Yep.
We were talking earlier, and Seth, all leagues in some ways are copycat leagues. 8 games left in the year, and they fire their coach, who had won them a Stanley Cup, but it wasn't going the right way. What do you think owners are saying right now to one another? Going, well, he can do it. We can do it. I mean, do you think that that's something we will see more late firings, particularly in basketball and hockey, and maybe to some extent baseball? But do you think we'll see any more of that late?
I do, but I think it's more of a hockey thing than it is a sports trend. I think that the idea in hockey is that coaches are really interchangeable, and that the value of the coach is not what inherently we think of in our brains. Just the current NHL model is that if you saw the Islanders did the same thing. They had 2 games left, and they fired Patrick Waugh. I mean, it just seems like whatever is going on in these dressing rooms, the coach is not held to the same standard. Coaches are interchangeable. And we'll see. And sometimes I've seen that coaches get fired because another coach comes out on the market, and it just seems like a real carousel in hockey more than the other sports. In the NBA, the players have to approve it. In hockey, at least you can hire a coach that you want.
I don't know. I have a theory, and you're both hockey guys, so you'll shoot me down pretty quickly if it's garbage. I just think that there's a style of play in the NHL in the regular season that you can get by with above average goaltending, and you can have 2 of them, and you can still get your 100-point season and make the playoffs. But when you try to put that goaltending, in between the pipes in April and May, yeah, you're screwed.
It's wild. Yeah, Colorado. I mean, and all the Devils cast-offs. Scott Wedgwood, Mackenzie Blackwood. I mean, who's next? Sean Burke?
It'll be interesting to see because Colorado, I think the coach may be gone, and I feel badly because he's a friend. But
yeah, that's your guy, Bednar, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've known Jarrett for a long time. He's a good dude, and I hope he doesn't get fired. But trust me, if I were the owner in Colorado, I would be talking to Joe Sakic, the people running the team, going, do we need a change? He's been there a while. Yep. Yes, he's won them a cup, but what have you done for me lately? It's kind of the way sports works. So I could see a change being made there, even though to me it's much more simple. Get a number 1 goaltender, but it's not always how ownership works.
Fascinating thing about Colorado, given the fact that the Nuggets and the Avalanche have both won in the last 5 years, the Broncos have won. The Rockies are the second most popular team in that region. The Rockies, and they are consistently, I think they're right now 14th in attendance for a terrible team.
Right. They draw 30 to 32,000 every year.
Wild. That fascinates me. And when I lived in Denver, now granted it was a generation ago, but when I lived in Denver, they had a sellout streak. Like that was their thing. But I've talked to Denver people mostly, I keep in touch with a lot of those guys. I see Denver stuff all the time. I listen to their podcasts, and the Rockies are still such a big deal in that region. That's fascinating. The other thing to note, the Avalanche are owned by the Cronkies. So are the Nuggets, so are the LA Rams, and so are the Premier League champion Arsenal. And Josh Kroenke was at the celebration, the trophy lift on Sunday. And it was just wild to see, this guy's had a modicum of success. He's won in every team that he owns, won in the last 5 years.
And Mr. Kroenke has handed a lot of things over to Kevin Demoff, Marvin Demoff's son.
Yep.
Okay, so he will have a really big voice as to what's going to go on with Colorado. Mark and I got into this a little bit earlier, and I agree with Mark that, you don't fire a Makar and some of the other guys on the team. But I just wonder if Joe Sakic, being the former player that he was, how many times did he think a coach made a difference? They lost some heartbreaking series, and then the next year won some gutsy series to win the cup. And how many of them does he think the coach was the difference or not?
Yeah.
I'll be curious about that one.
That's my guy. That's my guy, Joe Sakic. That's my dude. He was the captain when I did pre and post game for them.
I'd be fascinated by that too, David, because the team they were losing to was the team I rooted for that arguably had the best coach in the history of the game, in Scotty Bowman. I mean, so he may actually be of the philosophy, if we'd have had Bowman, we'd have won 5 cups. You don't know. So it is a fascinating question to really look at that way. So, Seth, I'm curious because now that I like this, by the way. I like the baseball player being able to flip the bat and celebrate and be himself. But we're getting to the point now where I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too, but it's obnoxious.
It's egregious. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean, the suck it thing that the pitcher did for the Brewers last night. You watch a college baseball game, which takes 17 hours. Their bat flips are beyond out of control. This women's softball. I mean, you know how this goes, and it goes right down to Little League. And I don't care. I want guys to be themselves.
Right. The world still rotates.
Yeah. Is there still? But with that being said, can you still plunk a guy if he celebrates too much? If you know what I mean. You can't ask for all of this and then plunk him. I don't know I don't know where you draw the line if you can.
We had a very similar conversation recently for Sports with Friends this week. It's former Marlins and Braves manager Freddie Gonzalez. The podcast is a tribute to Bobby Cox. And there was so much in there. And at one point he tears up. It's a fascinating podcast. But one of the things we talked about is, could his style and really Bobby Cox, it was more of a tribute to Bobby. Could he relate to today's player and the bat flips and the things that histrionics came up from Freddie? So it was interesting that like the same line of thinking is that, it's a different sport. And Freddie, seems, look, and he's idealistic, but he said that he thinks that Bobby could have adapted to today's game. And I don't see it. I see Bobby Cox, Tony La Russa, Jim Leland. Like I see those guys as being the old guard, and you're not going to see that anymore. And it was just interesting that you brought that up, because we just talked about that like 48 hours ago.
Well, listen, I love the late Bobby Cox, but he only had 3 rules. But one of the 3 rules was you couldn't wear your hat backwards. Yeah. Do you really think that guy who would have had a problem with Ken Griffey Jr. is going to be okay with the pitcher mouthing off at the batter and vice versa? And I don't see it.
Yeah. It's a wild evolution of the game. It's something new. But then again, I was hanging out with some of my neighbors, and they had the Knicks Cavs on, and I said, they're wearing the jerseys backwards. Why are the road teams wearing white at home or on the road? Why are what's going on with these two? The uniform police? What is going on with this league? Forget load management. Forget all this stuff. That's what they're doing? They're switching the uniforms? That league.
It's funny. It drives my son nuts in hockey that they've switched. And his reasoning
but they switched 15 years ago. And I know, but consistent with it.
But he's even said, he goes, I only get to see the road team's whites. When I go to a game, I'd like to see them look good. He goes, to him, it bothers him when he goes and sees, he goes, he's closest to Carolina. When he sees Montreal play, he wants to see them wear their red unis. He goes, everybody looks the same on the road. And
but
I
in the
thought it was
NBA, they make it up as they go along.
Oh, well, so baseball, between the city jerseys and all the stuff they wear, it's ridiculous.
Boy,
Get off of my porch.
Yeah. We sure do. Ladies and gentlemen, the three of us are 250 years old. 20 seconds, Sports with Friends, go.
So it's a tribute to Bobby Cox. And the story goes, Bobby was looking for sports radio. And when they traveled on the road, he couldn't listen to Atlanta sports radio. And he knew Jim Duquette. And when I was hosting on Sirius XM in 2009, Bobby Cox was an ardent listener and used to comment on things that we would say, both positively and negatively. And we tell that story. And he convinced Freddie Gonzalez to listen to our show. And that's how I met Freddie Gonzalez. Bobby Cox, the Hall of Fame manager, was a listener to crap that I did.
He's Seth Everett. We're Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, Nanny, I think that's an interesting take since you obviously weren't alive for that. But all I can think of is oh God, now I can't think of the comedian's name that does tires. That's been all over everything. But he does the bit about white people peaking with the announcers. He goes, that all ended when Jackie Robinson came in the game. That whole bit is hysterical. Oh, I forgot to tell Seth today's the anniversary of his Devils moving to New Jersey. Shane Gillis, yes. That bit is fantastic, Javier. It's so good. That's what I heard. I heard his writers took a lot of grief too. That I just made the comment. Whatever Michael Che went after he and his writers for their jokes being lame, but I didn't see it, so I'm not. Thanks, Rogues.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. And thanks for being with us on this hump day. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We talked about this. Well, I mentioned it in the starting five. We didn't necessarily talk about it. And I don't know how long we're going to talk about it. But, so you tell me what you do if you're the Green Bay Packers with Josh Jacobs. If by chance you didn't hear, Josh Jacobs got arrested yesterday on numerous domestic abuse charges, one of which is a felony. The powers that be, and listen, you could do the innocent till guilty thing all you want, and Miller and Moulton do it a lot. But when they don't issue bail to a professional athlete, that's a tell. When they don't issue bail to a Green Bay Packer in the state of Wisconsin, what's the conclusion you come to? I mean, Mark, this incident happened over the weekend. He's still in jail. I love Bobby Bowden. You love Bobby Bowden. We love how he handled certain things. Okay. And I know how he would have handled this. He would have let the kids stay with the team, work out with the team until it was adjudicated. And then he would have handed down whatever discipline he would have handed down after the matter had been legally resolved.
Well, there are a couple of tells. You gave one. His attorneys issued a statement. Now, you know what they're going to say, but the brevity of their statement I also thought was a bit of a tell. Josh vehemently denies the allegations, and this matter is in the early stages of investigations with important evidence that has not yet been made public. We ask fairness and restraint while the judicial process takes its course. That's it. That's it. I mean, usually, David, when they think they have an innocent person, there's more than a sentence. There's usually a couple of paragraphs.
And, there are already people in both chat rooms that are like, you got to let this play out. You can't cut him until he's found guilty. Well, first off, the hell you can't. You're running a professional football team. You could do whatever the hell you want. I mean, we can go all the way back, and I don't even know how many years ago this was now, Mark. Was this in between first Super Bowl and second Super Bowl for Ben Roethlisberger? But when Ben Roethlisberger was being investigated for the alleged rape in Georgia, and I wrote a column that said, if he gets charged, he's done. I said, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he's legally guilty or not. I'm just telling you, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to stand behind a quarterback who's being charged with rape. I don't think they're going to do it. And they'll take all the grief if he's found not guilty, if the charges later on get dismissed. They'll take all that grief. And they'll just say, we moved on. It was too ugly for us. We didn't want to be associated with Ben and the people he hangs around with. And we moved on. So there's no sense asking us about it anymore. We moved on weeks ago, days ago. And I don't know, Mark, if you agreed with me. I think we had just started doing a show together. My thought process was, if he gets charged, the Steelers are done with him. They'll cut bait.
So I am of the belief that the more talent you have, the more organizations simply look the other way, no matter what the hell it is.
You're right.
What I would do personally and what I think the Packers would do are two completely different things. There are 5 charges levied against him. They're all pretty damn serious. Right. Now, I don't think the Packers are going to do anything until this gets a little further along. What the bigger question to me is, David, what's the NFL going to do? Because they're the ones that can determine swift punishment. They have the ability to suspend him right now if they wanted to. They supersede what any team wants to do.
True. But they usually want the matter to be adjudicated, and then they come off the top rope with what they are going to do.
So the odds are, Well, I shouldn't say that because every case is different. I don't know when this will be adjudicated. You would think, this isn't a DUI. This isn't something that a lawyer can kick the can down the road, if you will. This seemingly, with criminal charges, would happen, I don't know, reasonably quickly. And by reasonably quickly, by the start of the football season. Like, I'm not trying to be, it's the end of May. This should be in court by July, right?
I don't think it goes to court during the football season.
You don't think it will even start yet?
No. I think they'll easily be able to get this where they don't see a courtroom where they're looking at each other till after the football season.
Okay. See, I thought it would happen before then, given the fact that it is still the summer. If that's the case, then I don't know if the NFL does anything before the season starts. And that's a horrible look. It is.
Now, technically, there's only one felony and 4 misdemeanors. But I have to admit, some of the misdemeanors sound the worst.
Well, suffocation and strangulation's the felony charge. That seems pretty bad to me.
I agree. But it's listed under disorderly conduct. You have to read further. Like when they say battery, underneath that, they're saying domestic abuse and criminal damage to property, not a felony. Domestic abuse, not a felony. Disorderly conduct sounds pretty light until you go, holy blank, they mean domestic abuse, strangulation, and suffocation. And intimidation of a victim, which means exactly what you think it means.
He's got 2 years. Just the facts. He's got 2 years left on a contract. $24 million.
But every year is its own year from a guaranteed money standpoint, right? So the Packers, they're not screwed by Josh Jacobs. They can walk on just Josh Jacobs. I'm just curious. What do you do?
Well, you and I would cut him.
Yeah.
The Packers won't. They
Probably
won't.
not. Probably not.
What would you do? 21,000's the text line. Twitch and YouTube's chat rooms are open as well. We'll talk about another scandal in sports, Texas Tech and their quarterback. That's next.
Go! This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
A 100%, Paul. That's why charges get dropped more times than not. What?
He just tried to get the mouse and he hit it and it went all the way from the top of the step.
Oh, yeah. Well, Nanny, we were on in a studio for many years. We've been on the radio for almost 20 years together. We now own our own company. Our show's syndicated. We are on in five markets in Florida, one in Alabama, and now we're on in Connecticut as well. We never used to do the show from home. We needed to do it from a studio. But modern technology being what it is, I have all the necessary equipment to get it up to the satellite company, and they distribute it. So we were on, terrestrial radio for a long time first before we ever did Twitch or YouTube. It's just a sign of the times. And, we are our own show. So you really couldn't start something like this from home. I don't think, Nanny. I think, once you get on, most everybody has the ability now with the right equipment, but we've got a few $1,000s worth of equipment. So that makes it a little easier. If that answers your question. And thanks for asking. Is this guy coming on via video, David? That's the assumption I got, or am I calling him?
No, the assumption was video.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. The bonus hour, the pro hour, is coming up shortly. We've already had Andy Baskin on the show and Seth Everett on the show, and all our guests join us courtesy of the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs, including Jarrett Ramirez, who joins us once again because he covers RedRaidersports.com, RedRaidersports.com, and you can follow Jarrett on X at Jarrett with 2 R's, 2 T's, Ramirez, the number 7, Jarrett Ramirez 7 at gmail.com. Jarrett, good morning. It's David and Mark once again. How are you?
Good, guys. Good morning to you. That Spurs Thunder game really took it out of me yesterday, but I'm alive.
Well, unfortunately, the only thing that's bothered me about that series, and I know we'll get to Texas Tech in a second, is that game 1 was great. Since then, we've had a lot of, it's a 3-2 series, but not very competitive games. But the Spurs go back home. We shall see if they can force a game 7 in the Western Conference Final. But obviously, we have you on to talk Texas Tech. The NCAA yesterday denies Brendan Sorsby's petition for reinstatement. I guess that's the first step of the NCAA. The one thing we've pointed out on this show, Jarrett, for as long as we've been doing it, the NCAA loses a lot. So this certainly isn't the end for Brendan Sorsby. But how much damage do you think was caused for his case yesterday?
Damage, I don't really know if you could say damage. I feel like this is kind of like a formality. They had to go in and deny him this. And that's the whole reason we're going to go to the courtroom next week. That's the first, or not the first step, but that's the next step. And that's what's going to make this next part when we go into the courtroom on Monday. That's what's going to make it matter. And I think we'll see how it all plays out. I don't know if you say damage. I think if you've been following along, paying attention closely since the beginning of it, you knew this was coming. It's not going to shock the system. Now, people who aren't keeping up with it as closely are going to view it as a end all be all, and maybe this is like the final strike, but this is the formality. This is something that had to happen. And I think it's just leading into the next step.
The president was very outspoken and very firm in his support of Brendan Sorsby. I thought he went beyond the, hey, I'm the president of Texas Tech, and he's our $4 million quarterback, so of course I want him wearing a Red Raiders uniform. I thought he went beyond that. He went to the big picture, which is, no, we got to realize that things have changed, and they've changed this decade, and we need to start treating gambling very differently. Curious, what do the folks in Lubbock think about that, or are they just wearing the jerseys and the pom-poms and that's all they care about?
Well, the way I view it, I mean, he's not wrong in the way he's addressing it. I mean, he's absolutely right. It's a different era. It's a different age. The way the sports betting and the gambling and all this stuff has gotten, the way it's impacting so many guys, around. I mean, I'm 23, so I'm right here around Sorsby's age. The way it's impacting guys around my age, guys younger than me. Now, is that a stance that I was expecting the president of the university to take? Not really. I wouldn't have expected him to have put out that address, and that was probably the most surprising thing that came about of yesterday. You saw the NCAA deny the request. I think Sorsby put out his first statement since he got out of the facility. But that release, that letter from the president, certainly not something that I expected. I don't know for certain exactly how those people are feeling as far as like the broader spectrum of sports betting and gambling. But I mean, he's not wrong. It's changed so much, and there's so much going on. And like I think he said specifically in the letter, Brendan Sorsby is not the first case, and he probably won't be the last one either. So the precedent that gets set with this case is going to have a lot to impact on cases that inevitably happen in the future.
I guess I'm sitting in a different spot because I don't think, I think if you were still in college and being 23 and, my son's not much older than you, he's 26. If you're in college and you want to bet on FanDuel and DraftKings and you're a student, go ahead. When you are getting paid and they're now getting paid by the universities. I mean, let's make no mistake. I know that we don't call them employees because God forbid we do that. That might fix a lot of things, but that's for another day. But they're getting paid by these universities. And the one thing about the professional sports leagues is they don't let their players gamble on their leagues. There's this thing called integrity. And I know we can say that Sorsby only bet on his team to win. Well, what about when he doesn't bet on his team? Does that mean he thinks they're going to lose? I mean, I get that gambling's legal. I'm all for gambling being legal. But I think you can have different rules for college students than you have for college athletes. And they seem to be trying to group it all in the same. It's like, he's a young kid and we all make mistakes.
Yeah. And like you said, that's the difference as far as like the professional thing goes. And I think that's why maybe there's some thought that the supplemental draft might not be the foregone conclusion there, because, if that's the route that they take, is the NFL going to view him favorably in that case? I mean, I don't really know. And I don't think so, but especially because of all the admission to the betting that's happened. So it's a weird deal. I think they might be prepared to fight out the long haul for this and see if he can keep playing in college. And, they're certainly trying to work towards that deadline, I think of June 22nd, to get filed in for the supplemental draft. But I don't know if that would be a foregone conclusion, just because nobody knows what the NFL might have to say about all this.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't draft him. Would you? And for those that don't know, wherever you draft someone in the supplemental draft, that's the pick and the round that you have to give up in the 2027 real draft, if you will. I don't care if he's a third round talent. I can't trust the kid for not being just a gambling head case. And I mean, does it mean anything to anybody there, Jarrett, that when he was on the Indiana Hoosiers roster, he bet on the Indiana Hoosiers? Like, that's the death sentence for me. I don't care about anything else. We all know in every sport, if you bet on your team, you don't get to play that sport anymore. And that's why I wouldn't touch him. I don't want him in college athletics, and I wouldn't touch him if he was in the NFL supplemental draft.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you're right. That's the crux of the whole deal. Is I don't think it gets as big if it's just the Romanian doubles tennis or the,
right.
the hot dog eating like it doesn't get to this level if it's just those kind of bets, and that's that would probably, because I mean there was even the legislation I think that was proposed, or the I don't know, whatever they were trying to get passed back in September, October, kind of that range, as far as maybe easing some of the betting restrictions, or maybe kind of allowing these guys to do some of that stuff, but more on, kind of the obscure things like I just mentioned. But you're right. I mean, that's the crux of the whole deal. And I don't know. It's just been I think the best way that I described it to you guys last week was it's the gray area, right? It's the
right.
fact that you bet on them to win, and that's where now, obviously you guys are the way you see it, and the way millions of other people are seeing it. that's the part that's open for interpretation.
Let's get to the crux to the matter, though. I mean, there's really one important question. What's behind Sorsby on the depth chart? This is a team that Texas Tech expects to be back in the playoff. I mean, they're going to be picked to be at the top of the Big 12. And everything that I've seen is that there's no depth at the quarterback position. So, there's part of me that thinks they're as all in as they are because this year depends largely on this kid playing. If he doesn't play, you cover the team on a daily basis. How much does this affect this roster if they got to go to QB2?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's the best option they have on a team. I mean, that's far and away. That's the conclusion you can make there. There's no doubt, no question. The problem is, it's not that they don't have depth. It's that their main depth is coming off of a torn ACL. And that's the problem that they have right now. They had Will Hammond, who's a stud coming out of high school, who's done some really good things in 2 years at Tech. He had a really great game against Utah last year, really good game against Kansas. Showed some flashes in the game at Arizona State, and then tore his ACL against Oklahoma State. And that's where he's kind of been at. It's where he's been recovering from since about October, I believe. And I think you saw some reporting last week that he's looking at probably getting cleared August 21st and maybe even being able ready to start by week 2 or week 3. So, and that's been the side story to the Sorsby deal. It's like, okay, you've got the Sorsby thing that's been rolling along. It's like, well, what do you do now with Will Hammond? Because he's been coming off the ACL. I think if he's not coming off the ACL and he's fully healthy going into the year, you've probably got a little bit more optimism for what he can do. But then you've got factor in the injury, and you've just kind of you're wondering what's he going to look like when he comes back. If they have Sorsby, I think there's without a doubt. I think they're Big 12 favorite. You're looking at potentially winning a playoff game, which they did not do last year. I think if they have Hammond, I think they can still win the Big 12. I think the roster is good enough to do that. They're specifically just so good in the trenches, so good on the D line that I think they can still do that. Now, the ceiling of winning a playoff game or not, I don't know if you can go that far with Hammond, especially if he's, not what he was before. But the roster is good enough that they can still go and win the Big 12 with or without Sorsby. It's just he's the difference between getting shut out in the Orange Bowl and potentially winning that game.
Well, Jarrett Ramirez, RedRaidersports.com, RedRaidersports.com. All right, follow him on X at Jarrett Ramirez, 7 at gmail.com. Well, we know what you're going to be doing next week. So pack a lunch. Good luck.
Yeah, I got me a new sport coat. I'll be up there and I'll be in Lubbock for that hearing. We'll see how it goes, man. That's going to be the biggest thing going on in Lubbock on Monday. That's for sure.
No doubt. Jarrett, thanks so much. Have a great day, and thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys. You as well. We'll see you.
Jarrett Ramirez joining us. It's fun listening to his take because he is a lot younger than us. And his thoughts on gambling and sports are very different than yours and mine. Probably more in line with where you are, but he's even more, I think, open to gambling than even you are with this. Because that's what he and his friends have been accustomed to do. And that's the world that we're in now. You and I, we've gambled with bookies forever. I mean, we were able to make bets at his age, but it was illegal. And we knew it was illegal. And it was always thought of as this, almost organized crime, dark place. Whereas now it's sponsoring the stadiums that these teams play in. Very different.
Right. We just need them to sponsor radio shows.
Well, when there's only one gambling in Florida, we need to expand to states with more gambling, David. That's where we're at.
Oh, you're right. That's right.
That's where the Seminole tribe winning did not help Miller and Moulton.
Not at all.
Still use the Hard Rock app. Not opposed to the Hard Rock app, although it's
No.
been kicking my ass lately, but I'm not opposed to the Hard Rock app. Baseball over-unders already done. It's the Memorial Day. I mean, literally, my 2 baseball over-unders are done at Memorial Day. Pathetic. Pathetic. Braves are going to get off to a rough start. I take the Phillies. Tigers, 85.5. Hell, they might not win 75 at the rate they're going. Time for a deposit, everybody. I'm telling you right now. Just recharge the batteries and let it rip again. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, the Pro Hour on the other side. Thanks so much for listening. Go!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Tim, I don't know. I know it was, I'm with you. I read through a couple articles and I don't know if other teams have done it. I'm guessing they have, only because they really emphasized first time in franchise history, which makes me believe that other teams have done it. If it was the first time in baseball history, wouldn't you think the articles would say that? But again, I'm just guessing, Tim. totally forgot to put my team in for fantasy golf last week. Very upset. Michael, I have a question for you because we know you're an attorney, and I'm not at all demeaning your practice. If you owned, let's just say, the Everblades, because you were once a season ticket holder and cared greatly about their success, and you knew a player was guilty, but the evidence we hadn't gotten to discover. I mean, you knew it. You knew it based on your friends in the police force or whatever the case may be. Would you then suspend a player, or would you let everything play out if you actually knew? Because my guess is, if you're the Packers, there are some people there that know what happened. And I don't disagree that I don't think that they will do a thing. I don't think they'll do a damn thing. Hell, he could be found guilty and they might not do a thing. I'm just curious because I know you always take the same side and I get why, but I am just curious.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Well, we've had a very active show thus far. And now it's the Pro Hour, the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. If you missed Andy Baskin or Seth Everett or Jarrett Ramirez, you can usually go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed not so soon after. And I believe that's the case now.
All right, we've got a couple hours up already.
Yeah. So,
I mean, this hour just ended. Usually the service I use takes a little bit to get it to me, but it'll be up there quickly.
So that's how we roll here on Miller and Moulton. Did the text line at 21,000 go a little crazy? It usually does when I offer not necessarily following innocent until proven guilty.
No, actually more people agree with you and us that they would dump him. I think most people also understand that that's not going to happen.
Right.
And I do think this is a case. This is they also have a union. If you just get rid, I know they can get rid of somebody at any time, but if they get rid of somebody without, the union then will stand up for that player. And the most important part of this, if they didn't think he was helpful to have their team win football games, he wouldn't be there anyhow. He's a starter on a team that's a playoff team that they have high expectations for.
Very high expectations. That's actually a team that we're not talking enough about. That's a team that hasn't been better than a 7 seed since, I believe, the 2020 COVID year. Well, no, I guess it'd be 2021. They were the 1 seed in 2021, and Garoppolo and the Niners went in there and beat them in the divisional round. But, Aaron Rodgers last year, they missed the playoffs at 9-8. Jordan Love hasn't done any better than 9 wins. He's won the 1 playoff game where they went crazy in Dallas, rushed for about 300 yards and beat the Cowboys. But, Mark, this franchise went all in. They gave up 2 first rounders and 2 good players for Micah Parsons. I mean, this franchise doesn't do stuff like that.
No, and obviously they didn't have the first round pick last year. They don't have it next year. They have receivers that have been often hurt. I mean,
yes.
Think what you want about Love, and I know he's not in your top 12 list. He's in that middle 12 and probably close to the middle of the middle 12 list. If you were ranking, if I had you rank starting, if we did a segment, David ranks quarterbacks, I'm guessing you'd have Jordan Love somewhere in the 15 range.
Lower.
Okay.
18 to 21.
So you think less than high. I mean, you think unfavorably of Jordan Love.
Yeah, I think he's holding them back.
So
I really do.
Micah got hurt last year. He's coming back off the injury.
Yeah.
Now, Josh Jacobs, we don't know what's going on there. Their receivers have been injured often. They can't keep a number one receiver healthy on that team. Whatever you think of Jordan Love, push that to the side. The guys he's thrown it to, they haven't been able to keep any of them healthy.
Well, I will say, how many times have we talked about, the Colts are 8-2 till Daniel Jones got hurt. Well, what were the Packers until Micah and the wide receiver got hurt? Because weren't they 9-3? Something like that?
Sounds about right. I didn't think they lost their last 4, but I don't have a schedule in front of me, so you could be right.
I mean, did they go 0-3-1 down the stretch? But the Packers, I thought, were in line for the 1 seed at one point. They were playing a game in Denver, and I thought they were playing it where if they won it, they were the 1.
I mean, they've got 1 starter on their team over the age of 30. It's a young, solid football team.
Yeah. And it's time to win, though. It's time to win. They've just gone, Mark, 4 years. 5, really, if you count the year before, even though they were the 1 seed. Mark, they've won 1 playoff game in 5 years.
Right. And they went out and did something they don't normally do 2 years ago. They drafted a receiver in the first round.
Yeah.
So there are big expectations out of him. Watson has not lived up to expectations largely because of injury.
When the Bears and the Packers played late in the season last year, before Jordan Love got hurt, which team did you think had the better quarterback?
The Bears. I like him.
Okay. And first off, if that's the case, that's a huge indictment of Jordan Love. And I'll go so far as to say, if you don't even agree with Mark, but you hesitated, you had to think about that, that's also an indictment of Jordan Love. He's been there a while.
Let me just ask you flat out. Rosters in that division.
Oh, boy.
No, I think it's really close. I'm going to take the Bears roster. I think it's very close. And I think you could vote, and you've got to factor the quarterback into it. So if you're thinking Minnesota has the best roster, which it's good, but they lost a couple guys on the D-line and their quarterback sucks. Okay, I'm sorry. But Detroit, I don't think their roster right now is better than it was at the end of last year. I don't think they did enough to help that defense. I think their quarterback might be at this point, the best passer in the division. Is he the best quarterback in the division? We'll find out by the end of the year. I'm fascinated by Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson 2.0, if you know what I mean. He's a gifted offensive play caller. And Caleb pulled so many wins out of his you-know-what last year, it seems unlikely that they do it 2 years in a row.
Well, that's what I'm fascinated by. For a team that won the division and trailed 6 times at the 2-minute warning and ended up winning all 6 of those games, come on. You're going to do that again? I'm sorry, I ain't buying it.
All right. My $20. Who wins that division, right? And you can change it. We got a lot of time. But who would you pick right now to win that division?
Not the Bears.
David, I can't get you good odds if you're saying not the Bears. All right. I'm just David, answer the question. The question, David.
I thought you were going to go full McEnroe. The question, you jerk.
No, I don't think you're a jerk, so I stopped short.
Yeah, but I could have been there. I mean, I may not be a jerk, but in that instance, I was being one. Oh, I can't pick the Vikes because of their quarterback situation.
Right. So you're not
now,
picking the Bears. So now you're between Jordan Love, who you hate, and Jared Goff. And that defense. That lost an 11-sack guy on the defensive line and thinks they replaced him with a rookie. So, and a tackle that you hated. By the way, they've lost 60% of the line that was the best offensive line in the league. And since then, really 80% because they're moving the right tackle to left tackle. And we have no idea how that's going to work out.
Fine, I'll go Detroit.
Boy, there was confidence just gushing from you on that pick, David.
Well, it's been such a great sports year for Detroit also. So how could I not think that something is really good is going to happen to the Lions?
Right, because it always does. By the way, when you look at Green Bay, their tight end tore his ACL last year. So they've got their best defensive player and their tight end both coming off ACL tears.
Well, that's what I meant. Okay, take a look at what they were doing, okay, when he tore up his ACL. It should be Green Bay's year. It should. If I believed in the quarterback, it should be their year. Oh, yeah, and now their rusher, who scored 13 touchdowns last year and had 1,400 yards the year before, okay, he beat the crap out of his girlfriend. Great.
So it is, I mean, it's tough to repeat in any division, particularly a good one. And here's a division where everybody was over 500 last year. And it is, look, I don't trust Kyler Murray at all, nor do I trust J.J. McCarthy. But is it that big of a stretch to say that the Vikings are going to be right there in that division? I know you and I don't trust the quarterbacks, whoever it is. But is it that big of a stretch to think that the Vikings may end up being right there? I'll take the Bears right now until further notice.
Okay, two questions. Best coach in the division is?
It's a great question. I'd say the guy in Minnesota.
Okay. I thought you were going to say the guy in Chicago after 1 year. Best quarterback in the division is?
Right now, today, Jared Goff. By the end of the year, I think it's going to be Caleb Williams. I like him.
I know you do.
I like him. And I think he's going to get better. I think another year with Ben Johnson, we're going to see Caleb Williams. I mean, I think the upside, I think he has the most upside of any quarterback in that division.
I'd agree with that.
I mean, we know what we're getting out of Jared Goff. He's a pocket passer, and he's a good pocket passer. And he's got good weapons. Very good weapons. Not sure about the line anymore.
Don't you look at the Green Bay Packers as like the Cleveland Cavaliers? That the Cavs had to take the next step. They did, and you're still disappointed.
Well, they've got to take the next step. I mean, period. That means winning more than a playoff game. Or maybe, hell, just winning a playoff game period is the next step for them, isn't it?
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This is Miller and Moulton.
For you golfers out there, I need some sleeper picks. Give me somebody. I'll let you guys pick my damn team. I can't do it. Let's pick Patrick Rogers as a B player. I know nothing about Patrick Rogers, but he's made 13 of 16 cuts. And we're going to go with John Perry, who's made 13 of 13 cuts. Yeah, Burns, I think, is an A player, unfortunately. No, he's not. Is he playing this week? I like how you gave me a guy that's not playing this week, Javier. Thank you.
Javier, how you feeling?
All right, my C golfer. Let's see here. Who did I, why do I not have a C golfer? I can take Nico. Let's take, oh, I've already chosen a C golfer. Who's my C golfer? Oh, I took Seamus Power just because he's made 9 of 12 cuts. I can dump him. I'll take Nico for you, Bruin fan. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not going to, if I win, it's better than I've done. I've already taken him once. Look at that. All right, we're saving it. There we go. Line up in. For whatever reason, I'm not able to see the answers to the poll. Usually I can. Today I can't. I'm not too worried about it.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
"21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day one's final thoughts. That's how we end Miller and Moulton every day. That's coming up in about 15 minutes time. So do you think that stat that I sent you is a relevant stat or no?
Well, I mean, is it a relevant stat? Sure, it's a relevant stat, but I don't think that's really what you're asking me. And for the record, what David sent me was all of the wins of teams that won more games than Vegas who didn't make the playoffs. The Capitals, the Islanders, the Devils, the Red Wings, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Florida Panthers, all won at least one more game than Las Vegas did. The San Jose Sharks won the same amount of games. None of those teams made the playoffs. And Vegas, with 39 wins, is in the Stanley Cup final. You asked me if you think that that's a relevant stat. Well, yeah, I think it's a relevant stat, but I think what you're asking, is it relevant enough that the owners change the point system for how you qualify for the playoffs? I think that's what you're asking me. I don't mean to make an assumption based on what you said, but knowing your history with that particular subject, I think that's what you're asking me, right?
Yes, because there are some owners that do want to take Gary Bettman on this. And Bettman continues to fall back on our regular season is the best. You know, our regular season almost always goes down to the last night, maybe the second to last night, where finally the last team or two clinches their playoff spot. Okay, why would I, in a league that gets over 60% of its revenue from the gate, why would I change the games being the most relevant at the end of the year? Why would I change that? And this is an argument for, yeah, you're rewarding mediocrity, though. Shouldn't winning regular season games count for something?
Vegas, for the record, had 17 overtime, or shootout losses. Now, David, your big thing is rewarding regulation wins. I will say, if I'm another owner in that room, I'm saying, well, I understand your point, David, but Vegas won 8 more games than the Kings in regulation, and the Kings made the playoffs also. I mean, the LA Kings are the team you look at and go, how the hell did they get in? They had 22 regulation wins. I mean, everybody in their division, with the exception of the Canucks, won more games in regulation than the Kings. 2 of those teams that won more regulation games didn't even finish 500 in the NHL. Do you know how hard that is to do?
Very. Very. So, just a thought. Do you think that stat is relevant? Or no, that the Vegas upset of Colorado and it's going to amount to nothing?
Well,
when Columbus upset the Lightning, did they change anything because of that?
I don't know what
2019.
What were the divisions then, David? I really don't know, because now they're in different divisions. So I don't know if they still were. The one thing that I think that this could see, I don't think that the Vegas wins leads to anything from the standpoint of changing the point system that the sport has basically always used. What I do think there is more of an upheaval about is the playoff seeding. And Bettman is hell-bent on keeping the divisional rivalries intact. I'm one of the few people out there that's actually fine with it, because I agree with him on that. I like the division rivals playing one another in the playoffs. The wild card throws it off a little bit, but I like it. Now, what I think could happen, David, is with Vegas, who ended up with the 4th most points of playoff teams in the Western Conference, and essentially got the benefit of not having to play Colorado until the 3rd round, when in essence, if they were the 4, they would have played the 5 seed, not the 7 seed, in the 1st round, and then would have played Colorado in the 2nd round. I do think some owners will start pressuring Bettman for a 1 through 8 conference playoff alignment. That, if you're Bill Guerin, who's the general manager of the Minnesota Wild, and you're seeing, man, what if we got Colorado 1 round later? We beat the hell out of them, played them in 5 games. They've got no Makar now, and McKinnon got hurt on a shot late in the series. But, I mean, you're still going all in. They've spent a lot of money. They've got a short window here. Wouldn't they have been better off being the 3 seed than having to play the 2 and then the 1 seed back to back?
I'm in favor of that. Okay, and I hope that's not too complicated on the radio, but I'm in favor of stay in the division for the 1st round. Okay, fine, you get out of the division, then seed by conference. Okay, where in the East, it would have been Carolina 1, Buffalo 2, and it would have been Montreal 3, and it would have been Philadelphia 4. So the same matchups we would have gotten in the 2nd round. But if we go out west, okay, where Colorado was 1, but Minnesota would have been 2, and they would have had home ice, all right, and then we would have had Vegas 3, Anaheim 4, and Vegas would have gotten Minnesota. Would have been a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, I don't know if they would do one and then the other. I think they'll try to go right to 1 to 8 in the conferences personally, because that seems to be what most hockey people that I read and hear want the conferences to just be 1 through 8 from the get-go. That you seed them 1 through 8, and that's how it is. That it's not 2 separate divisions. So that's where I could see some resistance from ownership and general managers, David. But it's been a non-starter with Gary Bettman. So I'm not exactly sure the inner workings of the NHL, if there's a competition committee, if there's some sort of committee that can raise these things to a vote, or if Bettman essentially is the benevolent dictator and what he says goes, because that's kind of the way it seems, David.
Kinda. Outside of the Olympics, I'm trying to think what it is that Gary wanted or didn't want that didn't or in fact happened. So, I don't think anything's going to change, but I do find it interesting that there's 8 teams with more regular season wins and a 9th team that had the same number of regulation wins as Vegas, and all 9 of those teams missed the playoffs.
Let me just ask you, would you take the Canadians plus 125 tonight? I mean, this is it. They don't get this. This sucker is over.
No.
They're not winning 3 straight against Carolina.
No. I think they're tiring from the 2 7-game series, and I think Carolina is clearly better. You know what I said? I said in this series, I picked Carolina in 5. I thought Carolina was going to forecheck Montreal into the ground, and I thought you saw it in Game 3. Shots were what?
3-1, basically. I mean, it was basically 36-12, somewhere around there.
Right. I think we're going to get more of it.
Well, the guy who's been doing it for Montreal's got to continue to do it. Dobas has been great. He really has. He's going to have to be spectacular tonight. Miller and Moulton. Today was the day win, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and a little what's on tap. That's next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What? What? You're noisy. Cat's yelling at me. Sorry. I'm yelling back. 10-mile walk, Big OC. I'm impressed. I have been lazy the past few days. I slept yesterday. I took 2 naps. Finished Mobland, and now I've started Tombstone. 5 seasons. I don't know if I can do 5 seasons. We'll see.
Is Tombstone the Costner?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. That's when we're done. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
Sounds like you're ready.
Yeah, I thought about it, and really what I wanted to get off my chest, I got off my chest last segment.
Do you feel better?
Yes, because I thought for a split second you considered my position, even though I know you're against it. But I thought you genuinely considered it with the added evidence.
Well, first off, it's a new bit of evidence from you. You've changed your whole philosophy, which had me a little bothered. Like if I were in the room, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Moulton, you've been talking about regulation wins for 4 years, and now you're talking about this. Well, where are you? So that was my first thing, because this is total wins, not regulation wins.
Well, yes, but I also think that I would change the points. The points would be different. That, it'd be tough for Vegas to even make the playoffs, quite frankly. But
I would go 1 through 8. I just, after seeing Minnesota have to go on the road in the second round when they had the 3rd most points, that one got to me a little bit. And I know I'm on an island with divisional rivalries. Most hockey people I know just don't care. And that's the old Norris division in me. That's what it stems from. The sheer hatred between those teams was great. The Adams division was the same way. I mean, there was hatred in those divisions. And there's still, Boston and Montreal is still the best rivalry in that sport. It is. It's not Montreal and Toronto. It's Montreal and Boston. And it goes back, at least 50 years, 60 years, if not longer.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right. I got a question after I give you the first 2 things. And it's about the first 2 things. 1930, the Chrysler Building in New York City opens to the public. At the time, it was the tallest man-made structure in the world, 1,046 feet. The Empire State Building was built a year later. 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge opened to pedestrians. The Golden Gate Bridge was the longest main span of any suspension bridge in the world, 4,200 feet. What's more impressive in the 30s? The Golden Gate Bridge being built or the Chrysler Building being built? It blows my mind to think that we did this stuff. I don't want to get into the pyramids and all that. No, you can go as far as you want of what happened in the Renaissance period with all the buildings in Europe. But it's America here. Golden Gate Bridge, Chrysler Building. Which one's more impressive at the time to you?
Oh, Golden Gate Bridge. I think the whole tunnels, is more impressive than the bridges even. Okay, I'd love to know, how did you build these tunnels? Okay, and the water didn't get in and people died. And not only that, we're 90 years later and the tunnels are rock solid. I mean, seriously, what did you do? We need to do more of it.
Right, like the old railroad tracks to Key West, like the 7-mile bridge that all those people died because a hurricane showed up and they had no idea a hurricane was coming. But just when you get into the construction of our country and what the sacrifices were of those people that didn't really have much of a choice, But it is amazing to me that we got all this stuff built. That's all. All right. Thanks for the answer, David. Appreciate it. 1963. The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan is released. It's his second studio album. It had Blowin' in the Wind, A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. His critical and commercial breakthrough. Today in 68, Hallis retires. 318 wins, 6 NFL titles. What took him so long? Season been over for months. I mean, that's a long time to think about what you're going to do next. Lennon recorded Imagine today in 1971. The Flyers go back-to-back today in 75, beating the Sabres for a 4-2 series win. Bernie Parent wins the playoff MVP for the second year in a row. The Sex Pistols release God Save the Queen today in 77. Not that it was a problem or anything. It was banned by the BBC pretty quickly. I forgot to mention this to Seth. It was today. It's particularly with him wearing that Sonic shirt. It was today that the Colorado Rockies moved to New Jersey to become the New Jersey Devils. He loves the Devils, who left a city and can't stand Oklahoma City that, left a city. Today in 94, the final broadcast of the Arsenio Hall Show. It had a short run, but it had a big influence on late night TV.
Yeah?
I mean, got Clinton elected.
Yes, it did.
It did. I'm sorry. It got Clinton elected.
And I also think it led to Johnny stepping down sooner than later.
Two things in 95. One good, one bad. I'll give you the bad first. Christopher Reeve had his horse riding accident today in Virginia that left him paralyzed. The good, or maybe you don't consider it good, but today, Hootie was big. Cracked Rear View went to the debut album by Hootie and the Blowfish, went to number 1 today in 1995. It had just a slew of hits on it. Let's see. The movie Madagascar, the animated movie, that was released in 2005. 50 Cent throws out the first pitch at the Mets game today in 2014. Just a bit outside.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Was it bad?
It was so bad that Topps would produce a baseball card commemorating the moment. He missed the catcher by at least 20 feet.
Might have missed him by 30 or 40. It was horrendous. Wound up left-handed, and I mean, it's like the stuff you see in those comedy movies in which they tell you, hit the mascot. What? Hit the mascot.
It was the opposite of Bugs Bunny striking out all 3 batters with one pitch.
Right.
Greg Allman died at the age of 69 today in 2017. And 4 years ago, the Top Gun sequel, Top Gun Maverick, was released 36 years after the original picture.
Got me to go into a movie theater.
Didn't it kind of bring back movies post-COVID?
Yes.
That was the big one. I mean, I've never seen it and don't feel like I've missed anything. But then again, I don't do movies. So there you go. Wild Bill Hickok, Sam Snead, Henry Kissinger, Louis Gossett Jr., Flyer great and broadcaster for the Flyers, Ed Van Impe, tough defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
And Lisa Lopes would have all celebrated birthdays today. Rams tackle Jackie Slater is 72. Souxie Sue from Souxie and the Banshees is 69. Todd Bridges is 61. Jeff Bagwell and Frank Thomas, couple of Hall of Famers, they're both 58. Antonio Freeman, 54. Marjorie Taylor Greene, 52. Rapper Andre 3000, 51. And Jacob Dobis, the Canadiens goaltender's 25. Does he win on his birthday?
Ooh. Do you take that into consideration?
No. What did I miss, David?
I don't know. I didn't even have my list in front of me. I wanted to pay attention to your list and enjoy it.
I thank you.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
You know, there are many times that the good is just a meaningless little story because I have trouble finding the good usually for this segment. Then there are other times that it makes you feel very little about what you've accomplished or about yourself. Today's one of those days because a 98-year-old British World War II veteran officially became the world's oldest wing walker when he stood atop a flying plane for 9 minutes at over 1,000 feet at the age of 98.
Damn.
Right. I mean, serving in World War II, not enough. And raised a bunch of money doing it. Served as a tribute to his wife and son, who both died after battles with cancer, giving the money to the Lennox Children Cancer Fund. Good for you. For the bad, we go to my backyard here in Estero, David. Both of these about a driver, a good par 5 away in both cases. Victor Lou Fung, 18 years old, high school student at Estero High, was arrested Friday night after making his way over to Hertz Arena and tampering with the Zamboni. Video shows him recording him sitting on the Zamboni before taking the keys to the Zamboni. What are the keys doing in the Zamboni when it's outside?
Yeah, really?
He's facing charges of burglary of an unoccupied structure and the delinquency of a minor because the other person with him was obviously under the age of 17 or 18. For the ugly...
Did you say of a minor or a Marner?
Of a minor.
Okay.
Not a Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner was not aware
of this. I'm just like, wow, he had such a good series. He made his way into the good, the bad, and the ugly.
For the ugly, we go to Nebraska, where a shotgun was fired outside of a convenience store in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, near the Wyoming border. Police initially thought it was a BB gun. Then they found out it was a shotgun. Turns out that the shotgun blast blew a hole in the passenger side door of the vehicle, which had an attached camper, and it also hit a woman who was stopped at the traffic light near the store, probably the only traffic light in Scottsbluff. It was not a person who fired the gun. It was a dog who set off the loaded shotgun that was in the back seat of the vehicle. Fortunately, the lady escaped with minor injuries and was taken to a nearby hospital. The dog was released on his own recognizance. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, May the 27th, here on Miller and Moulton, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Still hiring new officers, great pay, other jobs available. All information can be had at capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
No hoop tonight. One hockey game. Game 4, Carolina at Montreal. 3-1 or 2-2, which do you think? Everybody in action in baseball. 6 of the games are in the afternoon, including the Marlins with a getaway day, 1 o'clock special north of the border in Toronto against the Jays. By the way, talk about a sidebar that could go on for hours. What do you think they're saying in Toronto about the performance of Mitch Marner?
Oh, they're beside themselves.
Against top-level competition, too. And here he is helping to lead his team to the Stanley Cup final, and the Leafs got out of the first round once the whole time he was there.
Well, and, part of this is they lost Stone. He's back now. But Stone was their leader. Stone was their best player, and they played a large portion of these playoffs without him. And you know who stepped up? Mitch Marner. I mean, Toronto's saying he just couldn't handle Toronto. They did a long story on Marner about moving to Vegas, and that it was just the family, how different. No winner. I mean, this is the guy that was pretty close to home in Toronto, and just having to take to Vegas. But give that man credit. He's been terrific this postseason.
And he just matter-of-factly said, I kind of liked walking down the street and not being recognized. Okay? I can do whatever I want, whenever I want.
Yep.
And I kind of like it. And let me tell you, boy, we talked about this. We thought Vegas was a better matchup for Colorado than most everyone thought because their centers could match up with Colorado centers. And there aren't 3 teams in the league that could say that, but Vegas was one of them.
Well, and the other story is their goaltender. He was involved in that whole incident with junior hockey, and he never thought he might play, and now he's leading them to the Stanley Cup. But Marner could win a Conn Smythe, David. Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
No!
This summer, there's only one place to experience the roar of the World Cup at the British Open Pub in Bonita Springs, your World Cup headquarters, where the team is bringing every match live, full sound on every TV across the patio with daily food and drink specials from the opening match on June 11th through the final on July 19th. Catch the electric atmosphere for every England and USA match and all the matches in between at the British Open Pub, Bonita Springs, at the shops of Pelican Landing, where the World Cup comes alive.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 133251.
This is Miller and Moulton